So the Sega Dreamcast is a system that I still love playing to this day, and it makes it super convenient to play on my two Sega Dreamcast kiosks. This is a system that so many people want to play every time they come over because some of the games are just so expensive. And I decided to do a deep dive and see what are my top 10 most expensive games that I own on the Sega Dreamcast. So we'll go ahead and just jump right into it. This one right here, D2. This is a very interesting game. Now, if you played D or even Enemy Zero on the Sega Saturn, then you might have went through and played this game. But this is one that I didn't even realize that I had, and that is such a shame because this one goes for $159.26. That is just so insane to see some of these games have such a crazy, price tag to them. So D2 is a bizarre survival horror game that so many people may have actually missed out on, but I do love this whole eerie storytelling in this game, and I love how it builds that suspense. Now this is one that I did not even go through and play, so I'm really disappointed because I've heard that the environments look incredible in this game. Now pretty much you just have these different puzzles, you have tons of exploration, you have these cutscenes, and just so much that are going on in this particular game. So it even says that Laura finds herself in a mountain cabin with a mysterious woman named Kimberly. Outside there are horrifying creatures of alien origins roaming the area as the two are left to fend for themselves. So this definitely has over 30 gruesome monsters to fight against, and it actually looks like a very great time. So I will have to invest in this game just because I've heard some good things about it, and I have played through some of the previous games in this whole set here. But this one, of course it's more expensive. Of course you're going to pay up because there are 4 discs for this game. So this one is definitely one that you should look into, especially if you want to spend that money on some Dreamcast games. Now next up we have this fantastic game, Sonic Adventure 2. So this one is a fantastic title, and of course the price tag always shows when it comes to these games, because if you're going for the Sonic Adventure 2, you're going to spend $151 for a loose disc, or $212 for a complete in-box game. Now the first one will run you over $50 for a loose disc, and even $70+ for a complete game as well, but they really improved, at least the camera angles did, from the first game. But this definitely picks up after the first one. The cutscenes, the voice acting is so much better in this game. Just a fantastic staple. So this is one that so many people absolutely love. It holds, to this day. It's just a great time seeing all these different characters. So in this one, you get to play through as Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and you get to try out these new villains like Shadow and Rogue, or even Dr. Robotnik. So this is something super notable for these games that are coming up next. Of course, Marvel vs. Capcom. We all know that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is the more expensive game and probably one of the greatest all times. This one right here, this controller from Retro Fighters, this new one, the D6 wireless gamepad that is compatible with the Dreamcast, the Switch, and PC. This is the ultimate way to play some of these fighting games. This really makes a comfortable controller that just fits in your hands, and you can hook it up to a couple different options instead of just the Dreamcast, but this really makes it the ultimate way to play a lot of these fantastic fighting games, even shooters, and just have a comfortable yet fun experience. So I'm definitely excited to add this one into the collection, just including everything that it does, even including a pin. That was really neat to add that touch. But this right here, just this amazing controller, fits super comfortably. All of these buttons are super responsive. Now they do have more specs and everything else with it, but the buttons are so clicky. It just makes quite an enjoyable time. And even syncing it up to the Dreamcast that are in my kiosks, this is definitely going to be the way that I play from here on out, because I always have Marvel vs. Capcom 2 ready to go in these kiosks. That way, when people come over, we could just pick up these controllers. Now, they do also have a black one as well. So one of my kiosks has, the standard, this color. And then we even have the sports edition in the other. So this is definitely a really comfortable yet great experience and a super inexpensive way to play some of these games. So these games right here, especially Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you know, having over 50 playable characters, that was something crazy at the time, and it really added that experience that we all loved playing this arcade game. But this one, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, is over $127.50. Now, even getting the first one, you're going to pay at least $67 for, but it's so crazy. Just one of my all-time favorite arcade experiences, you know, playing that 3-on-3. The music is fantastic. The arenas are fantastic. You know, you can either play those like button mash, or you could do these like technical fighting. It has a great mix between. And I love the variety. Just love playing as all of these awesome characters. Some of my all-time favorites, and like I never expected something like this before. So that is definitely insane to me that that game is up there in price, but it's totally worth it because it is really one of the greatest games that you can play on the Sega Dreamcast. So up next, these are going to be some of my all-time favorites. So of course, I have House of the Dead 2. Now, I have the Japanese bundle, and I also have the North American version. Now, the only way to play these games and have that true arcade experience, of course, are going to be with the light guns. So, anytime you buy a light gun for these systems, especially these particular box sets, you're going to spend so much money. So, I actually have the Japanese version of this, like, light gun that comes bundled with a Dreamcast light gun, and that's going to run about $99. Now, of course, when you're comparing the box set with the light gun around $100 to just a complete in box North American copy, you're going to spend $27.99 for just the game. So really, the more expensive part is going to be that gun. And I just love this like cheesy voice acting. It's so bad, but it's so good. These really are a staple, and anytime that I see any House of the Dead games in the arcades, I have to stop and play them. I just love the cheesiness. I love the monsters. I love how fast-paced and fun it is, especially when you're playing with someone else. So that really makes such an enjoyable experience and definitely a blast anytime that I play. Now, even more of this cheesiness, we have Dynamite Cop. Now, this one right here is definitely a shorter game. It has a lot going on, but this is a really fun one. So this game can go for upwards of $99 as well. So that is definitely a fun one. So it's one of your beat 'em ups, but it is great co-op. I love how it has these colorful graphics. I love how it has these over-the-top weapons. But like I said, this is a very short game. And I just feel like it's kind of like a spoof of those like over-the-top action movies. So that's kind of why it feels this sort of way, but you really can have quite the enjoyable experience, especially if you're playing with someone else. And it says Dynamite Cop. It's tuna slinging, hair spray aiming, killer commandos to the rescue. So I love how each of the characters kind of feels a little bit different as you're going through, and it's just a fun time. Of course, it's so cliche, where it says, you know, these no good pirates who've kidnapped the president's daughter. This ain't no clean fight. So this one is just definitely interesting with these like humorous weapons, as they call it. But it really is like over the top and just out there. So this one, I was definitely shocked to see the price tag of it, just because I just didn't expect some of these games to be so expensive in price. And then on to this game. This is probably one of the games that I have that's so expensive for like no good reason. This is the Ring Terror's Realm. Now, if you know anything about this, you know, of course, you have 7 Days to Live. They've made tons of movies based off of, you know, this, like, whole thing that they did over in Japan. And, of course, when they brought it out west, you know, you just kind of, like, kill this whole, like, vibe. So this game right here, I just feel like it is not good at all. This is survival horror. It says has entered a new realm. It's this, like, deadly computer virus that's killing humans. You've been infected, you have 7 days to live unless you can find a cure and stop this from spreading. So I feel like this game definitely has a slow start to it. And it's kind of reminds me of one of those like low budget horror movies. But as you're going through, you know, when you finally get there with these like monsters or creatures or whatever this like virus is, I feel like it kind of picks up then. But I think when I first got this game to try it out, I must have just been playing and not really got much into it, because I just remember it being not fun. I didn't really want to continue with it, and I just cannot believe that this game goes for around $90.96. That is just so insane to me that this one, a bad game that's not really that great at all, can be so expensive. So this game right here, Jet Grind Radio, was definitely unique, and this one is definitely worth the money. So I love this. Tag, grind, and trick to the beat. So something compelling about this game. I used to play this back in the day. I even remember playing the Xbox version as well, and this was definitely quite the experience. I felt like it had nothing comparable to at the time, and even nowadays, I think there might be a Switch game that's kind of relatable to it, so I definitely have not played that yet, but for $77.18, this is definitely up there in price, but it's worth it. You know, you have these cel-shaded graphics, this incredible soundtrack, so original, so unique at the time, very distinctive, and super enjoyable. I just absolutely love this, and I just love how these like characters are. Over 10 funky and hip characters, 5 fully interactive cities with 16 challenging missions, and I just love the graffiti. I feel like this had like so much going on, and it really was great hearing these like songs. I just remember the Rob Zombie, just so much stands out when it comes to this game, and it's enjoyable every single time that I play it. So I definitely feel that that one is a must-have and definitely should be on your list. Now this one right here, I find this game super interesting. There really is quite no other game like this. It says, even here on Being Weird, sorry I'm a little bit different, Valley Girl. So that's what it even says like on the back. But this right here, you have like this voice activated gameplay, and probably because of the microphone. Now they do have one that comes with like an outer cardboard box that makes it super expensive, and even having this cool display here for this Seaman, this amazing game. This right here, it even says microphone included with game, and it has like little screenshots of this. Now this one, it definitely takes those like virtual pets to the next level, and I don't know what they were thinking, but it's like a fish with a human head. So you have to play this game and you have to like stay on top of it, because it really is a virtual pet. You know, fish, human face, you have to have it evolve. So you have to control the oxygen, the temperature, the food. And this game can go for like $74.72. And with the outer box, you could pay over $185. Now, this microphone here, it should have like this little green, like, little outer thing on it. But of course, those always get like dry rotted. So I feel like if you are going to buy the microphone, I feel like you're gonna spend the money, just because that's really probably where the money comes from. And of course, that outer box. But this one is just so over the top and just very niche. So if you're not really into that, or you're kind of like collecting this system, then you might have to spend that money. But, you know, it's just very interesting, very unique, and so different. Now, this one right here is a very interesting game, because it's like a first-person shooter, but it's more of a first-person slasher. So it says, slash or be slashed. Cut into the fastest, most furious first-person combat action adventure ever. So you're like a supernatural sword with the ability not to only slice your opponents, but to take possession of them through brainjacking. So this is one that I was pretty excited to get back in the day, and this one goes for around $62.24. So I feel like there is a lot when it comes to this game, and it's one that I'll have to actually play. So definitely did not even play it when I was pretty excited. I heard decent things about it, so I'm curious kind of how it holds up to this day. So if you guys know, let me know in the comments down below if I should even waste my time with this one, and just let me know like the overall feeling when you're playing this game. Now onto this game. This one is surprisingly a really great game. So here we have this Gundam Rise from the Ashes side story 0079. So this one, I like kind of how the perspective is as you're playing this game. This one, of course, holds a value where it's $57.34. I love how it's like those simulator, like these mech games with this first-person view in the cockpit. And I love how it has like these different tactical screens, these different controls. And I just love how it feels as you're playing this. It's not that difficult to learn, and once you kind of like master the controls, you definitely get a better experience. This is one that I played very briefly, and I feel like this one also holds up. So this one is not shocking on the price. I feel like a lot of these like mech or like Gundam games are definitely going to hold their value over time, and this one is very interesting. It says you command the Federation Army Independent Commando Team White Dingo. Issue orders to allied units and carry out your mission. So this one has this like 3D shooting as viewed from your cockpit. Definitely a great one, and one that you should look out for. Now, of course, these games are going to, hold their value up. I feel like the Dreamcast is one that, even though it doesn't have the largest library out there, it definitely has a fun experience of those arcade games. Back in the day, when you wanted to play the same arcade games, bring them home, like Crazy Taxi, and just all of these other fantastic games, like the light gun games, even this light gun game, this one is still up there in price, and I feel like not many people know about it. This one is Confidential Mission, and this one is also very close in price to some of the others. We have this one at $57.28, so it was very close to the last one in price. This one gives me that same feel, a little bit of like Virtual Cop, but it's different because you are like this secret agent. So I feel like there's the same thing. You have like these terrorists, and it's a great arcade shooter that just so many people don't know. That cheesiness, that over-the-top action, and there are some like mini games in here. And this one, definitely a great one as well. I feel like even though they have just a few on the Dreamcast, all of their light gun games are just super fun to play. Just a great experience and just an overall fun time. So I want to know in the comments down below which games you have in your collection. I know I'm missing quite a few of the really great ones that are up there in price, but I feel like with some of the ways I have to play some of these games, I have not missed out on it, and I have access to that. So definitely curious which ones I should look out for and which ones you really recommend. And have you actually played with this Retro Fighters controller? This really does make such an enjoyable experience, and I'll have to go ahead and grab more so that I can play and kind of, even out the playing field with some other people who play some of these fighting games with me. But I want to know, what do you guys think about the Dreamcast, and do you guys collect for it? So of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out all of my other videos and stay tuned for more.